Hi, it's Dwyer, February 15th, 2023. GamblersAdvisory.com, a free site. BettingAngle.us, a free site. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Now, we take chances here. Let's take a chance on this Tsyzu, Tony Harrison fight. From this seat, it's clear to me that if these guys were the same age, and if these guys fought at a neutral site, that Tony Harrison would clearly be the better fighter. Right, folks? I'm talking about a plus 200 underdog here. Tony is better. Understand, Tsyzu is front foot heavy. He needs to get inside. He wants to trade. He's not trying to avoid the exchange. He wants the exchange. He wants to not only set up a pocket, but he wants to surprise you in the pocket with uppercuts. He is not much of a lateral mover. He relies on his athleticism. This is an athlete. He relies on his punching power, right? He can get hit up top. He's not defensively blessed. He can get hit up top with well-timed right hands. He likes to go to your body. His signature body shot is his left hook. Right now, before I go further, let me just say these are my takes. You could have your own takes. Share them with us in the comment section of this YouTube video. Right, put succinctly, Tsyzu is a puncher who is an athlete who gets by on effort. Right now, very different with Tony Harrison. Understand, Harrison is simply too good to be a plus 200. Right? This is a bet that makes itself. Let's remember, Harrison, his first fight against Jamel Charlo, beat him. Right? Harrison is made for fighters like Tsyzu. Right? Tsyzu is bringing positive energy. Harrison, at his best, brings negative energy. He has what I call an advanced back foot. In other words, when you come with a lot of effort and with punching power and athleticism and come to crash the pocket, you're doing exactly what Tony Harrison wants you to do. His game is premised on you trying to get aggressive with him. Harrison has great timing on his jab. Harrison, and he's that rare fighter in boxing, there are not many of them, who has a mobile jab. So as you come forward and you're going to rough Harrison up in the pocket, Harrison raises the questions. Is there going to be a pocket? Harrison also makes you pay for coming forward. So he can be on his back foot and he can still be effective. He punishes a front foot heavy opponent who's trying to get by on toughness and aggression. Now, the real reason, no one will say it, let's say it here. The real reason why you're getting such spectacular odds on Harrison after he undressed Sergio Garcia, great last fight, is because he recently fought a southpaw, and Tsyzu is not a southpaw, Bryant Perella, who also had a very good back foot. So there, you had Harrison, a jabber, fighting a southpaw who could avoid Harrison's jab, who was hard to find in the ring. Both guys were playing a cat and mouse game. Right? I'm just here to tell you, and I know this is not boxing orthodoxy, but I'm gambling my money, not the boxing community's money. I'm here to tell you that Brian Perella is a more advanced fighter than Tsyzu. So that Harrison-Perella fight could well have gone against Harrison. The judges call that fight a draw. Right? What's also going into this line? It's the age. Harrison is the older fighter. Harrison is in his 30s. And of course, it's the location. I myself don't think Harrison wins this fight by stoppage. So the judges are going to be a factor in this fight. Judges, in my opinion, tend to be influenced by the location, by the crowd. The crowd is going to be a Tsyzu crowd. The fight is in Tsyzu's backyard. So given the fact that Harrison's not going to get a stoppage, he's at an age disadvantage. And he's at a location disadvantage. I recognize that I'm going to be the casino's huckleberry here. I just feel that Harrison is too advanced. That Harrison is not going to be thrown by the location. That Harrison is going to throw down a performance kind of like he did against Sergio Garcia, where he won the fight by such a wide margin that even the judges in the Canelo Bivol fight, after somehow seeing a different first few rounds than I did, will have to realize who's actually winning the fight. So, I like Tony Harrison here. If the casino is going to give me a plus 200, and Harrison's not fighting Jamel Charlo again, Harrison is not fighting Erickson Lubin. Harrison's not fighting one of the very hard to figure out fighters in the weight class. He's fighting a guy who his game is geared for. I believe the plus 200 is too much to turn down. I like the older guy here, the underdog, the guy who'll be visiting the fight location, the guy who I don't expect to get a stoppage. I like Tony Harrison in this fight. I'm going to hedge the play. You have two possible hedges here. For aggressive hedgers who believe that Harrison is just too skilled and will only be vulnerable when he tires, the hedge would be the over. Right? Harrison to win hedged with the over. For less aggressive bettors, the hedge would simply be the favorite, Tsyzu, by stoppage. This way, if the Titanic hits the iceberg in the early rounds and Harrison gets stung, Harrison gets in trouble, Harrison goes down, you're covered. Right? I believe the fight's going to go several rounds. I'll concede here. There is a chance of the scoring being controversial and of Harrison being robbed. But in terms of what I'm looking for in a fight, timing, Harrison's mobile jab is the best punch either fighter has. And I'm aware of Tsyzu's left hook to the body. Right? But timing, spacing, strategy, I believe all of that favors Tony Harrison. Right? If Tsyzu were a crafty southpaw with a back foot, okay, then we'd be looking at the Perella fight for guidance. No, he's a righty. He's a slugger. He's a bit more obvious than his father. I'm taking the underdog here. Give me the plus 200, Tony Harrison, simply to win the fight. I'll also hedge the play with the over. Let's be aggressive here. What that over hedge does is if the judges rip off Tony Harrison, or if Harrison, winning the fight otherwise, hits the canvas a few times and ends up losing the fight on the scorecards that way, I'm covered. But understand the risk involved. If Tsyzu walks through Tony Harrison, and he was supposed to fight Jermell Charlo, right? Tsyzu believes that much in himself, right? If Tsyzu walks through Tony Harrison, you lose it all, right? Tsyzu in the early rounds, if your bet is Harrison to win plus 200, hedged with the over. And if Tsyzu delivers a stoppage early, you lose it all. That's the risk I'm taking here. Let me hear from you. I hope you leave your comments in the comment section of this video, and let's be clear here. Tony Harrison shouldn't be a plus 200 against Sebastian Fundora. Right? The line is ridiculous. It's only if an opponent has a back foot, can play a spatial game with Tony, right? And is a southpaw who clouds the angles for Tony, or is named Jermell Charlo. It's only then that Tony should even be in the neighborhood of a plus 200. I don't see that here. I think Tony in this fight is a live dog. I think the casino, by pricing the fight the way it has made a big mistake. Understand too, I know Harrison's in his 30s, but Harrison is one of those guys who does not fight that often, right? Think Gary Russell. When you look at an older fighter, and the guy has the benefit of having been in the game for a long time, having experience, right? Understand, when these guys aren't in the ring in a fight, they're often in training. They're hanging around gyms. They're looking at film. They're preparing, right? When you see a guy like this, who's clearly more skilled than Tsyzu, and I know I'm saying things that would get me banned on sites like Boxing Social and BoxingScene.com, right? But when you see a guy who's more skilled than a Tsyzu, and he hasn't fought that much, I'm just telling you, some of these older fighters still have a lot of gas left in the tank. I like Tony Harrison plus 200. I'll hedge the play with the over. That's how I see this fight. Let us know your thoughts, your take, your prediction in the comment section of this YouTube video. And if you're listening to the podcast of this at DwyerBoxingNews.com or Amazon or Apple or Google Podcasts, understand on YouTube, my account name is Dwyer 70905. That's DWYER 70905. Thanks for stopping by.